Quercetin is a super potent antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory. It's what's really been known for, but it's a flavonoid. And so flavonoids in general are just what gives our fruits and vegetables the pigment, the rich color that they have. And so the stronger the pigment, bright orange, bright red, bright purple, the stronger the flavonoid potential is going to be. And so those flavonoids have something called a polyphenol, and that just means that the polyphenols are just, always remember, very rich in antioxidant support.
Welcome everybody back to the Healthy Habit Podcast, episode number 27. Stacy is back, everybody. Stacy Faulkner has worked in the natural health industry since 2023 years here, folks. You better get your pens and papers ready, right, Stacy? As a national educator for Emerald Labs, the additive-free company, Stacy provides insight and understanding to those seeking information regarding better health through proper supplementation and self-care. In this month's check-in with Emerald Labs, we're going to dive deep into NAC, quercetin, zinc, maybe how to get ready for seasonal allergies, which are hitting everybody right now. So welcome back, Stacy, episode number 27.
Thank you, Dehan. Nice to see you again. Our monthly meeting.
Absolutely. For those of you that missed the previous times we had Stacy on, you can go back to episode number 6 as well as episode number 12. So you can get caught up. We mentioned in the past, we've talked about the digestive herbs, reflux, melatonin. Remember that? So, well, the stage is yours, Stacy. Tell us a little bit about quercetin. I want to go deep on quercetin today. It's so important.
So I think the first thing for people to understand is that quercetin really got a big hit near the end of the COVID studies for respiratory health. What we need just to understand is that quercetin is a super potent antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory. It's what's really been known for, but it's a flavonoid. And so flavonoids in general are just what gives our fruits and vegetables the pigment, the rich color that they have. And so the stronger the pigment, bright orange, bright red, bright purple, the stronger the flavonoid potential is going to be. And so those flavonoids have something called a polyphenol, and that just means that the polyphenols are just, always remember, very rich in antioxidant support. Okay, so antioxidant support is really what we're going to dive into when we're going to discuss, if we have time, quercetin, N-acetylcysteine, glutathione, vitamin C. I mean, it can go on and on with antioxidants. And so what we really want to address today is overall immune support, but also what you just mentioned, Dehan, is allergy season is coming up. And so a lot of these ingredients, these natural ingredients, are really formidable against for protecting against allergies or allergy relief. So, slowing down the histamine release, and anti-inflammatory is really important for it. Inflammation is basically what's happening when you're having an allergy attack. So it's just foreign invaders, the body starts to release histamines. So we really want to kind of suppress those. But the same thing with the immune system is those foreign invaders, we want antioxidant support going in for that oxidative stress or whatever's happening, for everything to get kind of attacked effectively, efficiently, without having to use some kind of a pharmaceutical or over the counter.
I knew you were coming on today, Stacy, so I've been taking Emerald Labs Allergy Health Formula at 2 caps twice a day. Let's dive into this product a little bit. It contains the NAC, quercetin, correct? And the Pure Whey C, vitamin C. Tell us about this formula.
So the difference when we're talking about quercetin, the quercetin that I actually pulled some of the products out. So I didn't pull out the allergy, but the quercetin I'm referring to here is a Phytosome technology. And then the allergy support, Dehan, it's a standard quercetin. So this is a good little primer for consumers and the new quercetins that are coming out. So what we're looking at, when you look at quercetin overall, it's poorly absorbed by the human and animal body. So poor absorption, and really that's just what we want. We want absorption. We're only as good as what we absorb, right? Through the intestinal lining into the cells for everything to do its job. So when you have something that's not easily absorbed, you're going to have to take more. So as you notice, that allergy formula you're taking is 4 capsules equaling 1,000 milligrams of, I think it's milligrams, of quercetin, standard quercetin. When we're looking at the quercetin, I just handed you too, this is new technology that we're selling separately, and one has additional zinc added to it. The Phytosome technology allows what the company did, and this is a separate company, this is an ingredient anybody can buy. The company's called Indina. They've taken a non-GMO, a lecithin, sunflower lecithin bubble, and they've taken those concentrated, the concentrated compounds of the quercetin, put it in the fat bubble. So now what we have science backed, because it's a patented, registered trademark ingredient. So when we're using these ingredients, they're science backed, they have clinicals, they're going to do what they say they're going to do, but it absorbs into the cells at a much more bioavailable rate, and it's going to stay around much longer. So for the allergy formula, it is been tried and true by me for many, many, many years. I even would travel with it in little packets, because every state that I would travel to would be a little bit different about what's blooming, right? So in general, you could take 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, whatever's going on. And so with that being said, that quercetin with the N-acetylcysteine, okay, which is basically great for immune system. It's molecules, it's basically cysteine, which is the non-essential amino acid that we naturally produce to help with glutathione production. So the N-acetylcysteine from the cysteine, if we don't have enough. So hey, let's not get into that. But anyway, so then the vitamin C and all that, then not only the bromelain and the eyebright, those are all really calming to stop that histamine from attacking the inflammation. But then with the quercetin here, this is now, if you wanted to switch, this is what I've switched to. Okay, this is two tiny little capsules. I take 2 a day at $2.50 per 1 capsule, micro capsules. This is in the Phytosome technology, and so you have guaranteed absorption with taking less of the product. And in the Phytosome technology, it's guaranteed absorption. This is 20 times more absorbable than standard quercetin. So that's just something that, to explain to the consumers. 250, it's a 2-month supply. But the quercetin overall, we want to look at anti-inflammatory, we want to look at respiratory health, antioxidant support. There's a lot of studies for the anti-respiratory, as far as, especially if you combine it with zinc, and we have another product, we've combined it with the 10 milligrams of zinc. The quercetin and the zinc apparently potentiate each other. So when we're looking at the cell membrane, the quercetin kind of opens up a little channel, or a little, let's think of it for the consumer, it's called an ionophore, but think of a channel or a little bridge for that zinc, another immune support mineral, to travel into that cell membrane, and then it can stop viral replication inside the cell membrane. So this is where we got all these studies at the end of COVID for respiratory health, combined with zinc specifically. It can really lower somebody's, in the studies, it's showing that it could lower somebody's the length of a hospital stay, or the potential of getting onto a respirator. But for the consumers listening to this now, it's a great thing to have in your arsenal. Combine it with zinc. You can either buy it with the zinc or take it with your daily zinc to prevent ailments that, respiratory health, and just overall immune function for the colds, flus, allergy season that's coming up.
Right. Yeah, especially that quercetin. It's that people are congested, right? And they can't get that mucus up. It's interesting when you look at foods that have a lot of quercetin in it, like garlic, leeks, onions. These are powerful foods that can cause some of that tearing up, right, of the eyes when you're cutting the onions, or like they're intense, right? They can cause you to blow your nose and get that mucus up. So it's almost like when you take quercetin, it can cause a microdose of that to clear you out. Is that a good way to look at it?
And it's a great way to look at it. And also, if you think about the allium that's in the allicin that's in the allium plants, like the garlic and onion that you just talked about, and the sulfur, you're really looking at respiratory health right away. And actually, I was just in Boston, and I went to the farmer's market, and there was this woman buying all sorts of leeks. And she's like, I have to buy all these leeks because my doctor said I need to take leeks. And I said, what's going on?
It's a good doctor.
For the allicin? She goes, yeah, I've got lung issues. Yeah, and
That's cool.
There's a lot of different things that are so natural that people can understand the combinations, or what, are heavily present. Those went with whole foods first, but then supplementation is like that.
Yeah.
More in winter, less in summer, right?
Both. Yep. Exactly. So you mentioned, so there's a standalone quercetin that you just held up there behind you, and then it's also part of the allergy health formula.
The allergy formula is standard quercetin, and what I just showed you here is the quercetin Phytosome. So that's the difference now, because technology is advancing so quickly. We now have this product available that this company Indina is now has created.
They're both in there. I just pulled it's the Phytosome in the allergy health formula as well.
Oh, did they change that?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you for
Interesting.
telling me. It's been a long time since I've been taking it because I take this quercetin now,
Yep.
the Phytosome. So that's good to know. Thank you for informing me that. So consumers know then that it does. And does it still say 1 to 4, or is it just down to 2?
For how many per day? It's 2 caps twice a day.
Okay, so
Yeah. They
okay,
suggested.
depending
Yeah.
upon what you're going through.
Right.
So for consumers listening, that's a quality product. So this company also makes the Mariva Phytosome, which is turmeric, poorly absorbed by the human body. So turmeric Phytosome, Mariva turmeric Phytosome, or quercetin Phytosome, whatever you're looking for, quality products. So you're using less of the ingredient because you're absorbing more because technology is so advanced now.
Right.
And more capsules.
Good. I'm glad we clarified that. So it's in both formulas, and that one's just going to give you more of the quercetin if you're specifically trying to raise those numbers up, without the eyebright and the
And you're
bromelain.
guaranteed that absorption.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit more about that bromelain that's in the allergy health formula.
So bromelain is from the pineapple, no, a papaya,
Yeah.
no, pineapple. Okay.
Yeah.
And then papaya is also a digestive enzyme. So we're looking at, again, it's an anti-inflammatory. All
Yeah.
right. Just like we're looking at calming down that histamine breakout and really suppressing or keeping all that inflammation down, because the inflammation is being caused by whatever you're inhaling, that foreign invaders. So dust,
Uh-huh.
pollen, blooming, whatever's blooming. It could be an allergy sensitivity also to something that you ate or drank, a sulfite in a wine specifically. So
Hmm.
we're looking at calming everything down around preventing that histamine.
Absolutely. Got to keep the inflammation low. Another interesting thing about quercetin that I just pulled up before we completely stop talking about quercetin, it actually decreases, of course, inflammation, but dysbiosis in the gut. It actually helps our microbiome, Stacy. You might have already
So
known that, but that's an interesting, not many people
no,
have that on their radar.
that's really great, because we're really finding out so much more information these days about how tied in the gut and the brain are. And if people would kind of listen to what's going on in the gut, then they could prevent perhaps the brain fog, the sluggishness with the brain, the low activity from the brain, from the foods that they eat. So listening to what's going on with your gut after you eat certain foods is super, super important. And quercetin as a flavonoid, again, we're really looking at protection all the way around.
Right.
And it's also antibacterial, antiviral. Like I said earlier, it's helpful for allergies, asthma, hay fever. Um, I really I take the quercetin right when I wake up every
Okay.
single morning with 2 N-acetylcysteine, and they're so tiny. And because you can take those 2 right away on an empty tummy. There's several of the products with Immelmads you can take on an empty tummy, but everybody knows themselves and their own gut health and their age and
Right.
how they're going to best absorb it.
Okay, that was great. A great intro into quercetin, the phytosome technology, and then it's also
Yeah.
in the allergy health formula. Now let's tell me a bit more about NAC, NAC. N as in
Okay.
Nike, NAC.
Well, when we're looking at glutathione, which is our body's master antioxidant, okay, so the master is prevalent in every cell in the body. So we're going to produce our own natural glutathione. The body produces it. We're going to produce it naturally by eating healthy meats, and it can be cooked protein, like in the form of beef, chicken. It can be fish. So those are comprised of amino acids. So protein are amino acids, and so glutathione is comprised of 3 amino acids, right? So the main thing is cysteine is the main component. So we have
Hmm.
glutamate, glycine, and cysteine. Okay. What happens though when people are not eating healthily or not eating enough of perhaps the fruits and vegetables that also produce glutathione, we need about 250 milligrams per day to have that intercellular support of the glutathione. It's heavily present in our lungs and in our liver. So a lot of people might equate it to liver protection, but also it became kind of big during the COVID studies. And this is where we kind of got the whole thing about N-acetylcysteine. So N-acetylcysteine is cysteine. So cysteine is a non-essential amino acid. So we are producing it ourselves.
Hmm.
But when some people start to have low levels of cysteine production, that usually comes about with like high blood sugar or high blood pressure.
Hmm.
And so they need more cysteine to maintain the healthy levels. So this is where we want to look into either glutathione supplementation or eating more meats and keeping that up. But sometimes that's not necessarily going to work for some people. So we're going to look at magnesium. Apparently, well, not apparently, people may not know it, but magnesium is going to be a nice precursor to glutathione production. They support each other. But then N-acetylcysteine. So N-acetylcysteine is just that. It's the cysteine that you're going to be taking, as a supplement. And what's basically going to happen is that the N-acetylcysteine is going to really naturally help the glutathione production, because now you have the cysteine in the body, and it's methionine and cysteine that are working together to keep that going. So N-acetylcysteine is an amino acid, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it is good for so many different parts of the body. So naturally, people are going to think about it as supporting the immune function because of increasing the glutathione production. But what I found through with these studies and what we've just come out with is N-acetylcysteine, one capsule. It's a vegan N-acetylcysteine. It is from a fermented non-GMO corn product, or corn. And so 600 would be standard for somebody to take per day. If they want to do it for what the studies are really looking at, besides just immune function, we're looking at brain activity. We're looking at antidepressant, and we're going even a step further with substance abuse cravings by deflecting the substance abuse cravings. So Dr. Stingler, who creates these products for Emerald Labs, these are seriously created for looking at what our trends or what's really moving up in his, what's the word, like what he's seen in his patients, like what you see in your patients. Like, what did we see during pandemic? We just obviously immune stuff, but we also saw a lot of depression, anxiety, and substance abuse issues. So one of the reasons that this N-acetylcysteine is out and we have a 2-month supply is not just only for glutathione, as a precursor to do that, but we're looking at antidepressant. And I think what I've read in one of those things, it's the glutamate in there, and the glutamate may affect the mood and the cravings and repetitive thoughts that we're seeing in a lot of people. And so that's very, very interesting to me. So at 600 with the N-acetylcysteine, what we're looking at as 600 just daily maintenance. And then when we're looking at 1200, we're looking at really 1200 twice a day. We're looking at curbing cravings. So it doesn't have to just be a substance abuse, like a drug, a pharmaceutical, alcohol, something like that. We're looking at the multiple thoughts. So ruminating, perseveration, perseveration. I think I said that right. Things like that. So constant thoughts. So that could be overeating. That could be someone that just wants to do something that's maybe not a mindful choice. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And then at 24, I think that's 4 capsules. It's 624 we're looking at, and that's divided doses, 1200 twice a day. We're looking at curbing symptoms of depression.
With NAC.
NAC.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And like you said, liver health is an incredible detoxifier. I just pulled up a study that it helps form complexes with heavy metals ions. They bind together and
reactive oxygen species, absolutely.
It's effectively excreted out of the body. So it's a great binder of excess heavy metals, as well as, like you just said, it has mental health benefits. It helps us regenerate glutathione, the master antioxidant in the body.
Uptake it more.
Replenish our cysteine levels. Incredible. So you have a standalone NAC product here through Emerald. It has
and for the
vegan
consumers, 2-month supply. That's for somebody who wants to right away start to take 2. Reduce cravings of whatever sort, or if they want to take 4 to start to kind of rid themselves of perhaps low moods, kind of pull that out. So I think it's fascinating with cysteine and glutamate and the glycine when they're working individually to approach different things. And N-acetylcysteine was really just so heavily studied for respiratory health because it's glutathione so heavily present in the lung. But now when we start to see once it crosses the blood-brain barrier, I even typed up something from the journal Nutrition. I am happy to send this to you. Since it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it has been shown now to fully support neurodegenerative diseases. So we're looking at Parkinson's, dementia, stroke, MS, and
That's
diabetic
amazing.
neuropathy or neuropathy
Yeah.
pain. Okay. Then psychiatric disorders. This is really important. Schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive, bipolar, um, addictive behavior, and trichotillomania, which I'm not so familiar with. I'm actually not familiar with it at all.
Oh, you know what that is? That's
No,
when people they think spiders are crawling all over them and fleas, and they're
oh,
scratching their scalp and their
you just made me
skin
itch like
to
crazy.
the point of bleeding. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So
Wow.
this
NAC
is
helps with that.
fascinating to me. Okay, because when we start to look at, schizophrenia, these obsessive compulsive disorders, and let's nerd out a little bit together here,
Yeah.
is because when I tell people, okay, when I look at that, right away, cysteine is the component of inositol. I mean, cysteine is a component of glutathione, and this is inositolcysteine. So what are we looking at? Cysteine, we're looking at B vitamins, we're looking at choline, we're looking at all these different things that start to get depleted and then start to add to the effects of what people start to dive into.
Okay, got it. And I want to clarify real quick. It's trichotillomania. It's a disorder that involves irresistible urges to pull out body hair from the scalp or eyebrows or other areas of the body. Usually it's the scalp, eyebrows. They're just ripping their body hair out.
Right. So that's definitely a
Interesting.
depletion. It's
Right.
definitely a deficiency in, I would say, B vitamins and these important
Mm-hmm.
amino acids.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, I have a recent case of an 86-year-old lady she was bedbound in a hospice bed, and she was basically nonverbal, not even able to talk anymore, and very aggressive and not responding and not wanting to communicate. Got her on B vitamins. She's upright, speaking, way more calm, relaxed from taking more B vitamins every day.
If this is
It's
the
just
takeaway, listeners, if this is the takeaway, B vitamins are essential and they are going to work so biochemically with every other vitamin and mineral
mhm.
to achieve, hopefully a consistent homeostasis. And that's just, balance in the body.
Right.
And the brain and the gut are super important. So you got to listen to your gut, feel the gut, because then you're going to feel better later on. So,
Yeah.
Dahan, really quick, lung disorders, cystic fibrosis, COPD, bronchitis, gastro issues, H. pylori, Crohn's, and ulcerative colitis, male and female fertility. And I actually have inositolcysteine here as supporting male fertility. With this study that I pulled up this morning, uh, it increases healthier sperm function, higher sperm counts, more favorable hormone levels. So, and the reduced oxidative level stress, which could reduce the sperm count. So when we're looking at, fertility between men and women, that could be something that would be super simple to take, which would be beneficial for so many other things in the body. The eye
Hmm.
disorders, age-related macular degeneration, glaucoma, airways, allergenic rhinitis. Okay, that would be helpful for allergies, liver disease. So over and over, I keep reading about acetaminophen toxicity. So too many people are taking acetaminophen for so many different things,
Right.
and it is terrible for the liver. So acetaminophen toxicity, um, liver failure, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver. This is another thing I'm starting to see across the nation, and I would love to have your input on this. People that don't drink, they're 430 years old. I've heard of 4 cases now, and just people just talking to me, non-alcoholic fatty liver, and then
Yeah.
they're also now being diagnosed pre-diabetic. So what I'm looking at here with the stress, the sleep apnea, the hypertension, overall toxicity in the environment and food, the non-alcoholic fatty liver, to me is crazy how many young people are being
Oh
diagnosed.
yeah. Very common. Oh yeah, and it's tied with the high blood pressure and pre-diabetes or full-blown diabetes.
Okay, that's what these people that
Yeah.
I just met with, exactly, that's where they're going. So a
Yeah.
high sugar intake and a high fat intake.
That's the
And
combo.
then
That's the magic combo right there. Yeah.
and also there are people that eat their feelings. We have to be really careful with the cortisol levels when the pancreas stops creating the insulin because it thinks you're so stressed out. So it wants to keep all that. So your fat is going to keep
Right.
insulin, and then you're just a hot mess.
And
So
then
don't eat your feelings, people.
and what's happening is people are depleted in NAC and glutathione.
Yes, yes. And so you can't protect yourself. And then lastly on here, infectious disease. So H1N1, SARS, tuberculosis, AIDS, and miscellaneous disorders would be, this is very interesting with it. N-acetylcysteine would help with systemic lupus, various types of the C word, chelations of toxic minerals that you brought up earlier, so reactive oxygen species, and mitigation of nanoparticle toxicity on DNA methylation. But that could be a whole nother topic.
It's a
But
lot.
very interesting with the N-acetylcysteine because it's a fairly affordable product. You can take it on an empty tummy. You can take up to 2,400 a day to really address specific depression issues and repetitive thought issues. Let's call it substance abuse,
Right.
repetitive thought issues. So
Yeah.
that could be overeating, over drinking, over exercising, things like that.
Sure.
Overworking.
Amazing. Stacy, we've talked about a lot of important things today, from quercetin to NAC to the allergy health formula. And then there's a standalone quercetin phytosome formula there that you were holding up behind you. And we have the standalone NAC. So it really depends on what you're working for what your doctor comes up with for you as your treatment plan. But we do have the options right here at Healthy Habit Health Foods. Stacy, we're basically at the end here. Can you give maybe a 20, 30-second recap? What should someone know before the end of this show?
So do you want me to go over Emerald Labs? Just
like a recap of what we talked about today. What's a good take home?
So
what should they know?
For you guys would be that the additive-free products for Emerald Labs are offering you a lot of different options for immune support, from a liposomal C to an N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, to the glutathione, to quercetin with an additive bonus with zinc for all sorts of just different issues. Everybody knows what's going on in their own form, as far as their own immune health. So looking at it really properly and putting yourself on a nice regimen is the best thing that you can do.
Amazing. Stacy, thank you for your time. And I always enjoy having you on, folks. EmeraldLabs.com. Is that a good starting point?
Yep.
EmeraldLabs.com, everybody. Episode number 27 of the Healthy Habit Podcast. Thank you, Stacy, for your time.
Hey, take care. Until next month.